in the two crucial mistakes that the majority of this room is gonna do, which won't allow them to double their business in the next 3 years, which should be on the table for most of you. Actually, this is a better question. How many people by show of hands would be open to doubling their business in the next 3 years? Let me just look. Who doesn't want to? Raise your hand, because that's real. Okay, good. All right, so it seems like most of you want to. There's literally only two things that are stopping you. One, your ideology, which is actually, believe it or not, stick with me here, it's wrapped up in your ego. You enjoy the thought that you do it better than anyone else, which is why you're actually not delegating. You literally don't even see it. It's in your subconscious that there's this insecurity, because by the way, that's what ego is. Ego is just insecurity with some makeup on. Your insecurity that somebody might actually do what you love doing and you feel that you're good at better than you do it. Or your pride in your craft, which is absolutely blended with your deep love of your clients and wanting to deliver for them. These are things that are intermixed. You can absolutely want to deliver an incredible product, build a great reputation. Most of you built something on the fact of doing it yourself. It went well, they recommended. I don't know if you guys can see this. I get the goosebumps on this one because I come from this. I watched what my father was doing every day and I understood, but I understood how much that didn't allow us to grow. If you were stocking the shelves and ringing up the person at the register and buying the stuff, you weren't growing. Too many of you, if not all of you, how many people here own their business? Raise your hands. Everybody who just raised their hand right now is doing two things. One, doing too much dumb shit that they should hire for, and two, their meetings are twice as long as they're supposed to be. Everybody here has hour meetings that are actually 30-minute meetings, 2-hour meetings that are actually an hour. And so if literally, I come to this and I'm like, this is business. We could be talking about a lot of things, but we're talking about business today. It is incredibly obvious to me in service production, event businesses that this is the poison. The other poison is you want as much profit as possible to buy shit and not reinvest it in your business. Most of you are crying about too much business, and the answer is to hire people, but you don't want to hire people because you want the profit to buy a watch. So, I kind of weirdly feel like I should leave now because it scares me and excites me at the same time how much just those two things. If I could literally just get, one more time, how many people own their business? And how many people feel like they're in a spot right now where they have too much business, even that they can't take everything? Just raise your hands. Too much business? Oh, this is good. One more time, because I made some assumptions and now I'm getting excited because it gets me to talk about something else. How many people here feel like they have too much right now and so they can't take on more? Raise your hands high. Don't be, why are you embarrassed? This is the best. Great, so that small group, literally the only thing you need to do is actually leave, do not listen to the rest of my keynote and go hire someone. So I challenge you to marinate with that, find your version of what I'm saying, but I promise you, you will be flabbergasted. Because remember, I understand what people worry about. You might overhire ahead of it, business slows down. You can fire people. It's not fun, you don't want to. It's not like we're hiring with the intent to fire. We're not trying to hurt anybody. But the hesitation to hire is fascinating. And by the way, let me give you a really good insight. I am standing on this stage predominantly because of emotional intelligence and the luck of the draw of good intuition and things that were given to me the night my parents decided to have sex. But even with all of that, the amount of times I've hired poorly is staggering. It's just real. And I just want to remind people, hiring is guessing, firing is knowing. And the one in between is probably gonna be the most important. Hire fast. A lot of you are trying to be perfect with the hire because you're scared, and I get it. You make a mistake, she or he makes a mistake, the project gets, I get it. I hope everyone understands, I'm coming here, I'm not an author, I'm not a motivational speaker. I run a 2,000 person global agency that I started 14 years ago that does $350 million in revenue. And I started it 14 years ago coming from the wine business on Madison Avenue. I'm an operator. These first 15 minutes have not been about marketing. It's not been about like psychology. I'm talking to you about operating a business. I'm telling you right now, please do not let this era that clearly has a lot of demand in it. I'm looking at macro trends. There is an extraordinary amount of demand for events, and it will continue. And please don't, you gotta go? Please don't go and miss this moment, because a lot of you, how many people have been doing this for more than 15 years? Raise your hands. Perfect. You all know, it's waves. And if you don't catch the waves when they're right, you're leaving a lot of upside. You are all in the beginning. We've been in now for 6 to 12 months, but we're here. These next 3 to 5 years are very fruitful. You can expand. Seems like a lot of you wanted to. You don't have enough employees. I'm telling you, you don't. And here's a big one. This is very important and will really help a lot of you. How many people here feel that if they decided to go to sleep for 3 months, that they have a number 2 and shit will be okay? Raise your hands. Let's clap it up for these 11 people. And who does not feel that way? Raise your hands. My friends, let me tell you something that I'm very passionate about. If I can get all of you to leave here and remember this part of the talk and make a commitment to start building up a real number 2, that comes in all shapes and sizes. Giving minority equity is somebody that's been with you for a long time so they feel like an owner. You don't have to give them 50%, sometimes it's 5 or 10%. Recruiting somebody, one of the worst, there's a lot of bad sayings in life. The worst one is nice guys finish last. It's taught people in the world that you can't be a good person while building a big business. But another really bad one, right, is I forgot, but I'll get back to it in a second. I'm so passionate about the nice guys finish last that it bothers me. 10%, I'm gonna go with it. I'll get back to it in a minute, but what I really, oh, I got it. They tell you not to work with friends and family. I stand here today as someone who lives it, but more importantly, has invested in over 1,000 businesses in his life, analyzed business the way people analyze movies and sports. It's my hobby. I couldn't be more bullish hiring friends and family. It's hard. You as the person that's doing the hiring have to make a commitment to the relationship more than the money in your pocket, which I know does not come natural to most. But for all the people that just raised their hand and don't have a number 2, you are uncomfortably vulnerable. And so I beg you to walk out of here and start the strategy of how you're gonna do that. Do you have a friend or best friend or family member who might not love what they do, and should you have a talk with them and maybe joining? Do you have someone that's been with you for a while, and do you take the next step? Maybe before you give the equity, maybe you don't have to give the equity, but you need to change your dynamic with that. A lot of you take your number 2 for granted. Business owners are very good at thinking that the number 2 is just gonna work for them forever just because they pay them. So please leave here a lot with number 2. I stand here before you with the largest advertising independent agency in the world because I gave away all my secrets for free on the internet for the last 15 years. I give away my best information. The reason I have followers and people like me is I'm only trying to give it to you for free, at scale, daily, period. I think a lot of you could be doing the same thing for your businesses. I actually think one of the biggest mistakes in this industry overall is how many of you in this room think you're competing with other people in this room. I think people are incredibly built into scarce mindset. A lot of you leave money on the table by not referring someone as a referral fee because you're scared to refer that person thinking who you refer to will keep that relationship forever. So you would rather take money out of your pocket and not even engage in that and bring value because of your fear of it going away. There's a lot of interesting cliche things going on in this industry, bless you, that if, by the way, and you know this, there's a really fun Russian superstition that if somebody sneezes after you say something, it means it's true. So I'm just gonna remind you, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in this industry that makes no fucking sense.